I grew up on Bundjalung country in northern New South Wales. Since moving here, I've been a pretty active community member. I've served as the Central Coast co-convener for the branch of Amnesty International. I've also owned and worked in various small businesses across the coast. I work currently as an academic with the Wallatuka Institute of Indigenous Education and Research at the University of Newcastle. I decided to stand as the Greens candidate for Robertson following years of frustration with successive governments, especially with the recent coalition government. I just think the ongoing failures to act on climate change and to seriously address underlying causes of social justice issues, such as the housing crisis, First Nations deaths in custody. We've just been hearing the same rhetoric for years and years without much action for everyday people.
What are the sort of main issues you see arising across the whole electorate?
Have to address the housing crisis. I think that we almost have been led to forget that housing is a right. It's not a privilege. And we know that secure housing is the most critical foundation required for people to, basically function. So we have to do more. We have a huge youth population, so we need to be doing more to support young people and to forge pathways that, for people to actually do what they want to do. So key to this is obviously fairer access to education. And we have a really fantastic plan that covers, free education at that higher education level, but also looking at free childcare. And my vision for the coast has to involve a greater role for First Nations groups. We are living on unceded lands, and that's not only an issue that needs to be resolved at a national level with treaty and political sovereignty, but also at a local level. As communities, we're losing out by not inviting First Nations peoples into broader social and political domains and leadership.
In terms of PEP 11, what are your thoughts on the whole issue and how that's been handled?
I think there's a real disjoint in what the community wants and what's happening at a political level. We saw the International Panel for Climate Change report come out, I think the week that the terrible floods happened up the Northern Rivers, and it's really clear that the time for, discussing this kind of stuff is past. We only have to look at what's happened with the floods and the terrible, ecological crises we're seeing, that we have to, stand hard against these projects, which we know are damaging, and instead focus on what we can be doing on adaptability and responding to the crisis that we already have, not, investing in projects that are going to just make things worse.